Hey, hello everybody, my name is Cool Blue, and I am bringing you guys yet another Casters Network presents the CasNet Interview, and this one is going to be featuring somebody who I've actually just recently met, but feels like we've known each other for a while. His name is a name that I keep butchering, so I'm going to say it wrong on purpose. Just let you know I'm saying it wrong on purpose. Zeazin.
Close. It's my name is actually Zeazin. I'm an amateur caster for Dota and general games enthusiast. I'm going to be probably doing some other stuff soon, so that should be fun as well. A little bit of expanding.
Yep, expanding. All right, and would you really quickly give us, another introduction of yourself? Like this one about real life and stuff, not like anything.
Okay, well, basically I am a student. I study 3D computer art and animation, so I do that in my spare time as well. I'm currently taking a year out. I was supposed to be doing research in holographics this year, but that fell through, unfortunately, and at the moment I'm just kind of sitting about, casting and playing Dota, and looking for real-world jobs.
Sounds like the life to me. I mean, to be honest, it's like... Actually, no, it's kind of not the life, guys. Casting is a danger sometimes, but we'll get to that question in a few questions. But first, actually, a little bit more. You said holograms. You were supposed to go into holograms or holographics?
Yes, at my university we have a holographics research department, and I was supposed to be going in and helping the master's students with that one, but it fell through. There were some funding issues, so I didn't actually get to do that, so my year out is a waste.
Well, you get to cast.
Exactly, yeah. I've got more time to sit with and do. I've been wanting to do like YouTube and things like that for a long time, so I thought this is as good a time as any when I've got as much free time as I have.
Alright, now before we get ahead of ourselves too much, and before we jump into more questions that are actually listed, actually another question off the list, or not on the list, you have an accent. Where's that accent from, and where you're from originally, if you don't mind?
Yes, I am Scottish. A lot of people mistake me for Irish because I come from the very north of Scotland, so it's a bit of a different accent than you get down the south, like you think Groundskeeper Willie from The Simpsons. Not quite that bad. But yeah, I've deliberately lost some of the accent, but there's still bits and pieces because there's the original accent I had was pretty horrible. So
last time I heard you said it was not understandable unless you knew the accent.
Yeah, pretty much. It's my my girlfriend in the past. We went up and we met. She met my parents, and she was like, "Are they speaking Gaelic?" And I was like, "No."
Oh God.
Yeah.
You know you have an accent when. But okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and move forward with the questions and that we have listed. Where did you get your name from? Because Zeazin sounds interesting. Or Zeazin sounds interesting.
Well, this is something I think I thought it up when I was about 10 or something like that. When I kind of started going into online gaming and things like that, I was like, right, I need a handle. And of course, when you're 10, you go for things you watch and do. So at that time, I was playing through Final Fantasy IX, I believe, and the main character was called Zidane, and I am terrible at typing. So I just mashed some keys and hoped for the best, and it came up with something closely resembling Zeazin, and I just kind of like played around with it a bit, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. Seems fairly unique, and then I found out it's actually a pesticide used quite a lot in Eastern Europe. So,
so your name started off as a fantasy name as a kid, and you learned that it's a pesticide?
Yes.
Well,
quite a dangerous one, I think.
Yes, it's not awkward at all. I mean, it could be worse. It could have been like a disease, or it could be like mine, which mine stands for cannabis something, like CBD. It's like cannabis something to do with marijuana.
Cannabidiol. I can't even say it.
Well,
Cannabidiol.
you know it.
Yes.
See, there you go, guys. CBD, Cool Blue Dota. It's like cannabis. It's marijuana. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm cool on 420.
Actually, I had one bad name before in one of my World of Warcraft characters. I actually called him Darman because I thought, yeah, that sounds really cool. And then I think he was Dutch or Danish, said to me, he was like, "Are you from X country?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "Do you know what your name means?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Bowels." I was like, "Oh, yes."
The very courageous Bowels walks through the interview. Okay.
So luckily, I didn't keep that handle.
It's actually kind of cool to hear like the transition of handles and stuff. Like your story's about the same as mine. It's like, oh, I need a cool new name, so I just made mine up. So nothing interesting. Some people have really cool stuff. Like my name came from like my nickname when I was a kid, or my name came from like I killed dragons or something. But your name is just like mine. So I feel like we're close together in that.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a connection.
We got a connection. There you go. and not just Casters Network. But anyway, moving on. How did you get into games? Because you talk about your game handle when you first started getting into online games, but how did you get into games in general?
Well, it was so long ago, I don't actually remember. I mean, I've got a big brother, and he always had games as well and things like that. I think the first console we had was a NES, but obviously that came out before I was born. So my brother had that, and it had been passed around the family in general. And then I still remember going into what was then Electronics Boutique. I think you have them in America, or had them
games?
at one point. Yeah. And with my parents after Christmas and picking up my Sega Mega Drive for the first time with Sonic, it was probably one of the best.
Say Mega Drive?
Yeah, well, Master System.
No,
Master System it was in
in
the US, I think. Yeah, so I got that, and then generally I've just been kind of addicted ever since. And when I was a bit older, we moved out to the countryside, out from town, and it was there was no other people my age there, so I just played video games all day. Like when I came home from school, and then I started playing some online games like Command and Conquer: Red Alert and Yuri's Revenge. Played that. I think that was probably, I'm not sure if that was my first online experience or if it would have been Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne.
Right.
And from there, I played a lot of. Obviously played a lot of the custom game modes, but of course not Dota. I hated Dota, and I hated how it filled up the lobby list. It was like, oh god, it's just Dota, Dota, Dota. I want to play something more interesting. And obviously because every time I played Dota, I got my face smashed in. So
yeah, that happens. That happens all the time.
Yeah, God bless Volvo for bringing in the matchmaking system. I'll tell you that.
Oh man, see, it's a lot better than what it was before. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because I want to actually take a step back and actually, what do you, if you can recall, what was the first online game that you played? Like the first, I don't know, online game where you had to, online game.
I would say it's one or two of two things. It's either Red Alert 2 or Warcraft 3. I can't remember which came out first, but I do remember playing both of those online, and it was quite a surreal experience because I was like, I'm playing games with people, but I can't see them.
The internet, man, it's like aliens. But okay.
No, sorry, I was done.
Okay. So you started off in the RTS type games.
Yeah, that and a lot of RPGs. Of course, my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy VII. I absolutely love RPGs. I played. Well, Final Fantasy VII was the first game that I ever fully completed. I mean, like level 99 on every character, 255 stats, gold and chocobo. Absolutely, I got everything that is possible to get in that game. And then, it was basically just consoles. Our PC was never particularly good, but a bit later on, when we got a half-decent internet connection and a better PC, I got myself World of Warcraft, and then about 2 years of my life just disappeared, and I have no idea where they went.
And then suddenly, you're here.
Yeah, and then I played League of Legends for a little bit, but didn't particularly enjoy it.
Hold on. We're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and ask the question since you're already answering it. But how did you get into Dota? Like, just the whole step up to get into Dota. But you mentioned League of Legends, which was my gateway drug as well. Yeah,
well, as I said, I played Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne. I did play Dota once or twice, but really didn't like it. Obviously liked the style, but of the sort of isometric RTS sort of thing. But I didn't really. It was too difficult for me at that age, I think. And then I played League of Legends a little bit, but didn't really enjoy it. It almost felt like half a game.
Right.
It felt like a kind of single player game that there was other people there to ruin your fun.
Okay.
And then my friend messaged me on Steam, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to key to Dota?" And I was like, "Not really. I have bad memories of that game." And he was like, "No, come on, come play it." And then I've become completely addicted. It's my go-to.
Yeah, it's your go-to. Okay. So that's really good. Like I said, it sounds like you started off with strategy games and you went to MMORPG. So now you're here at Dota. So what are your favorite things about Dota? Because I mean, you mentioned like you hate a few things, but I mean, there's got to be a few favorite things.
Yeah, well, Dota, my favorite thing is sheer complexity. There's always tiny little pieces of minutiae that you don't know. Like, there's quite often when you're casting or something like that, you'll be like, does Plague Wards get affected by Howl or something like that? And then you have a little bit of a back and forth, and you try and work it out. But most of the stuff you're never going to find out. You just think about them and talk about them, and there's some interesting synergies that you don't get in everything in other games, and also the aspects of supports actually being supports I quite like, because in other games it's like, hey, it's a healer, they heal, that's it.
It's like, I'm a healer, I just build more AP and I get more heal. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how the game works. Game not broken. But okay. So before we step into the quick response section, I'm gonna ask you, what are the things that you felt were keeping you away from Dota initially? Not necessarily the things you hate about Dota now or currently, but just the things that felt like a giant barrier for you.
Well, I think it was the difficulty curve. It's kind of like a less scary version of Dwarf Fortress, if you've ever heard of that game.
Was it the first RTS or MOBA?
Sorry? No, Dwarf Fortress is a really, really complex sort of micromanaging game with no proper UI, and it's just ridiculously complex. And it's just like the skill curve, because it's just like, oh look, I'm dead. Oh look, I'm dead. Never mind. Oh look, we've lost the game, and I have no idea why. So it was just kind of getting into it, and then, of course, finding people like Purge and watching their videos and go, so that's why I was being an idiot. So yeah,
so that's why you don't build Battlefield on Sniper.
Yeah.
Okay. So all good stuff. Now we'll move into the quick response section. Now, do you know how the quick response section works?
Yes, I've watched a few of these before, so I know roughly how they work. I can't remember exactly which questions were asked, but I'll do my best.
And just for everybody who out there who doesn't know, this quick response section is pretty much self-explanatory. I ask a question, he answers, and then I move on to the next question. Pretty much, if you want to elaborate, I don't encourage it. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Alright, so quick response, starting off with, what is your favorite hero in Dota?
Pugna.
What's your favorite courier?
Cluckles the chicken.
Favorite team?
Navi.
Favorite event so far?
TI3. It's the only sporting event I've ever shouted at the TV for.
Favorite caster?
Favorite caster would be LD.
Favorite studio? And I can only think of 3, so that's kind of bad.
The good studio.
Okay. There we go. That's it for the quick response. So we'll go ahead and move over to the next. Well, actually, no. Do you want to discuss any of those at all? Or?
Not really. I think they're all fairly self-explanatory. The favorite hero is a little bit of a difficult one between that, Skywrath, and Zeus. I just love heroes that you can just kill people in about 2 hits and spells.
Who? Oh, you said Pugna. Yeah. Okay. So
yes.
Okay. Wait, why'd you pick Pugna?
Because obviously you've got the tower push, and also you've got the Nether Ward, and I just love people firing a spell and immediately dying.
Oh yeah, so much fun, so much reach, much mana, much damage. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so moving over to the next thing. How did you get into casting? Because I mean, it's a big transition to go from playing Dota and then you start casting. I mean, casting is its own beast. Like you have to know a bunch of stuff, or have the illusion of knowing a bunch of stuff. So, what made you make the transition?
Well, I've always been reasonably good at public speaking. Or at least pretending I'm good at public speaking. I think that's a fair part of public speaking, to be honest. Pretending to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's like I used to be in it was kind of like, it's called Army Cadets. It's kind of like military school, but you don't get told to go there. So there's a lot of shouting at people and a lot of like public speaking and stuff like that. So I did that, and I'd always wanted to get into sort of doing the whole YouTube thing, but I didn't really find what I'm not good enough at playing games to get famous that way. So I was like, I'll just talk about things and be superior. Yeah.
So talk about, like, instead of showing people how bad I am, I can talk about how bad other people are.
Exactly. Yeah, I can pretend to be better than other people rather than actually being better than them.
And then the staff cup comes around and you're featured in it. It's like, oh my god, why is this guy feeding so much?
Nah, don't worry, I'm sick that day.
Nice. He knows that he's gonna be sick that day. Okay.
Exactly.
Great. Well thought out. I'm gonna use that line. But anyway. Alright. So, what events have you casted in so far that you can think of?
So far, I did a 1v1 tournament for I think it was Team Doge. I think it's Doge or Doge. I can never bloody remember. But yeah, it was a 1v1 tournament for them. It was a cryptocurrency event, sort of like, bitcoins, but it was Doge coins.
Okay.
So there was a fairly large prize pool up for that. They're worth nothing, but they might be worth something eventually. So that was pretty fun. I have cast quite a few JDL games, of course.
JDL stands for what?
Join Dota League. It's Join Dota like Toby Wan's. his channel, they set up their own league to try and help casters out and things like that, and it's been really good fun. It's a really good experience. Met a lot of great people, much like yourself, Go Blue.
Yes, they also met you as well. Wait, no, did that meet you through JDL? I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think it was a JDL game we cast first, at the very least.
Oh, okay, something like that. I was like, hey, this guy's an accent friend. Okay. Okay.
The gimmick.
Yeah, there we go. Gotta start collecting accents.
Exactly.
So, what events have you? Oh, sorry, wrong question. What organizations do you cast for? Like, are you freelancing? Are you casting for Join Dota permanently? Are you casting for Stevo? Or just?
I'm pretty much freelance at the moment. I'm not sure whether you would consider CasNet sort of an organization, but I guess I am affiliated with you guys, so that's always good. But I am completely freelance. Obviously, I'll be looking eventually once I've kind of got my style down and I've got my knowledge down to a non-embarrassing level. I'll try and apply for something a bit more permanent and settled, maybe with like, you know, obviously, well, maybe not like the Good Studio or someone like that, but right. some kind of organization that would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a nice little answer to that one. And the next question I'll ask you is actually not going to be on the list, but you mentioned before that you were in like you had to go through military school with air quotes, where you basically do a whole bunch of speech stuff. So what would you say is the immediate impact of being able to speak well in casting? Because I mean, I know a few people who try to cast but they can't speak well.
Yep.
And I know when I first started I couldn't speak well at all. I said and a lot, but.
Yeah, I had a terrible habit of clicking my tongue whenever I was just about to speak, but I think I've managed to get that. So I was like, it was quite. So there was, those certain times when you're like, I'm gonna say something, and then you're like, nah. So there'd be quite a lot of me going. Nah.
It's like, are you gonna say something?
Yeah, but no, it's I think it's having public speaking skill is mostly about kind of confidence. I guess similar to acting in a sense, but obviously I'm not an actor. But yeah, it's just having the confidence and knowing that you can fill the time. Because a lot of, obviously, when people start casting, dead air is a big problem. Mm-hmm. But I have kind of verbal diarrhea, so that's not normally a problem for me.
Yeah, it works out great. I mean, I can talk about things that might not be about the game, but they'll be talked about.
Exactly. I'll just go over the same point for an hour and a half if I have to.
No, oh man, speaking of that, sorry, I had to take a segue because this happened to me yesterday, and I felt so bad because it was like something was happening in the game, and I kept saying that something was happening because it was happening, and I totally called it, and I was proud of myself, but I kept talking about it. So I felt bad, so it's like, I didn't get to the point where I was like, okay guys, I know I said this like 20 times already, but this is happening! And then, I went back and watched it. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but still.
Sometimes in post, things that you thought, oh, geez, that was really cringy. Is actually it's okay. It's passable. Mm-hmm. You know, you can maybe skip over it.
Like I said, it's about the confidence.
Exactly. Yeah. If you can bullshit confidently enough, people will believe you.
Yeah. You know, to a certain extent. Yeah. Once they figure out how well your yard is growing, they're like, hey, this guy's been BSing me. All this manure everywhere. Alright, anyway, moving over to the next question. It's actually on the list. What do you like about casting? Because there's a lot of things to like, there's a lot of things to hate, but what exactly do you like about casting?
I think probably what I like about casting is it's probably the most involved you can be with a game of Dota or any esport really, because when you're watching something, you'll be sitting around, you'll be eating, and you'll just be whatever, looking about the room and clicking at different tabs and things like that. But when you're casting, you're really, really in there, and you notice everything, and you pick up on the little nuances that otherwise you wouldn't. So it's really nice to be able to do that. I mean, I know before I was watching, like when I was watching the International 3, this was long before I started casting, I'd just be like, I don't know what happened, but that was cool.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, how do you know the black hole's about to happen? No.
Yeah. I know, but now it's mildly annoying for my friends when we're sitting watching esports, because I'm just like, oh yeah, he's doing this because, and like, we don't care.
So we generally don't care, right? But no. Okay, I was just about to ask you that question as a follow-up. Have you ever found it, not necessarily cumbersome, but have you ever found it difficult as far as like being a person who's used to casting or used to commentating on things or used to analyzing things to such detail, to where like, you go on to normal things and you end up doing the same thing that you don't mean to do it, like you can't turn it off. Have you ever found that to be a problem sometimes?
Definitely. I tend to over-explain things quite a lot in real life as well. I was like, oh, do you know this glass? The reason that we were better than China back then is because we developed glass for drinking wine in. People are like, we really don't care. Come on.
So,
We're just trying to have a beer here.
There you go. And oh man, you mentioned beer. And I don't know how this is a segue, but today's a special day for you.
Yes, it is. It's actually, as of 36 minutes ago, my birthday. I am old.
Yes, he is officially old, guys. Zeazin is now officially 75 years old.
Yep, exactly. 74.
74? Okay, I'm sorry. I added on a few years, 74 plus or minus 50 years.
Yeah, well, you kind of stop aging at 74. But after that, it's just kind of decay, really.
See, there you go, doing it again. Joking. Alright. My bad. I didn't mean to. Okay, now I feel bad.
No, I'm actually, to be quite honest, I am looking forward to being old, because then I'll have an excuse not to do anything. It's the same with, I really want to be fat as well, because people will just be like, hey, do you want to come out and, play baseball with some guy? I'll be just like, nah, I'm alright, I'm fat.
Shots fired, that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to add any comment or throw any out there except for that comment I just made, but shots fired, that's all I'll say. I mean, like, moving over to the next question, what do you not like about casting?
It's a huge time sink, really, because I mean sometimes you think, yeah, I'll cast, it'll be cool, and if you're doing something for like the Join Dota League, it's like, yeah, that's 20 minutes or whatever, and then you completely forget that it's 2 games, and that those 2 games can go on for 60-70 minutes each, and then by the time you're finished, you're just like, water.
And then what makes it worse is like, hey, there's another game coming up in a different region. It's like, ah.
Yeah. Or you'll do like one of the lower tier games, sort of like the semi-amateur games, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool, I'll just do this, I'll burn some time, and then you're just finished, you're like, oh, I'm never casting again, oh, I'm so tired, and then someone will say, it's like, hey, there's a free spot in Navi versus Team Liquid, we need anyone, you're just like, alright, I'll do it.
I agree, casting fatigue is a thing, guys. For anybody, it's not just Dota, it's also any other game like League of Legends, Awesomenots, Smite. If you guys want to cast any of those other games, or a game that you have to be as involved in the game to talk about it for 40 minutes, it's time consuming, and there's a lot of caster strain or caster burnout? Because
yeah.
I actually had that today, because there was a game supposed to be game going on, and I was going to cast it, and I was like, yeah, I'm only casting a certain type of game. And then I was like, look, I really don't feel like casting. I'm just going to go play Dota. And then I ended up playing 3 games of Dota, which lasted longer than casting. So, anyway.
Yeah, but at least it's slightly more relaxing. Unless, of course, you get, I'm not going to name any names, but I'm sure whichever region you play in, you'll know them. Yeah. You'll know the kind of people I'm referring to here.
Well, see, it wasn't that. It was just I was playing at the level of that region. So, for the first 2 games, there's a reason why I played 3 games and not just 2. For the first 2 games, there was much rage, inner rage, not outer rage. I try not to broadcast my rage.
Yeah, I'm much the same. It's like when I'm playing, a lot of my friends are a lot more vocal when we're playing, so I'm just sitting there going, come on guys, that's not actually helping. shouting at the Invoker because he missed his EMP is not going to make him hit his EMP in the past, is it?
But it has an EMP, or it has a radius of like freaking 5,000. It's like, that was like PGG black hole. Yeah. Oh god. Alright, so that actually can bring us into another conversation, as far as esports in the community. So, I ask a few times about the community to the people I interview, and I like to get their take on their view of the esports community, and as far as how it's growing, how it's doing, if it's doing bad, if it's doing well. So the question I'll throw to you, Zeazin, is as far as the esports community's attitude, would you say it's becoming a better thing? Is it still room for improvement relative to Dota, of course?
Do you mean in terms of playing, or in sort of the upper levels of the community?
We'll break up in 2 parts. First part, mannerism and general pubs.
Okay, mannerism and general pubs, there's nothing they can do about it. It will always be horrific, but also incredibly rewarding when you find that one gem of a person that stays in your friends list forever.
Okay. And moving on to scope, and as far as like the upper levels, professional scenes, people who get paid a lot of, well, relatively speaking, a lot of money to play Dota.
Well, at the moment, it's still quite a young industry, really, so there's not really been standards set for these people, so there's still a little bit of, I don't really know if that's cool or not, so it's definitely getting better. Over the past sort of 2 years, there's been less sort of huge controversy, I would say, going on. There's still the occasional, match fixing and things like that, but apart from that, I think it's generally getting better, and a lot of the tournaments as well seem to be a lot more professional. I think, I can't remember who it was, I think it might have been Vos or someone like that said that it was the first time they really knew that esports was coming a long way. It was the first time they'd ever been picked up by a car from the hotel to go to the event, and he was like, "Yeah, it just feels like an advance." So it's nice to see.
Nice to see you growing. I do agree. And esports. So in your ultimate decision or ultimate summary, you would say esports is on the rise for the better.
Yes, most definitely on the rise for the better.
Okay.
There's also, I think the money gives the amount of money that's being thrown up here makes them a little bit more professional, if you know what I mean. So I think that's probably going to be helping. I mean, you're not going to be mucking around and threatening breaking rules and things like that if there's, say, $1 million on the line or $100,000 on the line. So I think that's pretty good.
If there's $1 million on the line, I might break somebody's leg.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
It's a very short list of things I wouldn't do for $1 million.
And with that, we'll move on to the next one. How has casting affected you in real life?
Well, yeah, as I said, it's a big commitment of time, and I have a partner. I live with my girlfriend, and it is quite difficult sometimes because the main source of entertainment in our apartment is my PC. It's got like TVs hooked up to it and things like that. So when I'm casting, she can't do that. So it's a bit difficult for her, and I've got to try and manage my time so that it's kind of fair overall with that. But it's not too bad, I would think. It's pretty good. I'm still thoroughly enjoying it.
Okay. And next question I'll follow up with is being somebody who's newly come into casting relative to me, I guess, because I've been here for a year, which I guess makes me an old person. But relative to me, you're relatively new to the scene. What advice would you give to those people out there who might be trying to start out casting in their game, like whether it be League of Legends, Dota, Smite, or any other game?
Well, the thing that really started me off was the Reddit's r/Dota2 cast it. That is fantastic because you get some incredibly good feedback there from both casters and the people that submit it. As long as you're okay with taking criticism. I mean, I was lucky and I got some really good criticism. I got some really good feedback when I did it the first time, so I was able to really refine what I was doing. But they're really friendly. Just be sure that when you're doing this, if you're looking, make sure you look for feedback and don't take it personally. When people give you feedback, the majority of times before you get to the big levels where you start getting trolled, then the majority of the time it will help your career or your hobby or whatever it is you're doing if you take that criticism on and don't take it personally.
Definitely don't take it personally. May I interject with the story here?
Yes.
Okay. There's this one time where somebody gave me criticism, and guys, keep in mind I've been casting for a year, which I mean it's not saying much. I mean, not really all that big of a deal yet, but soon, because hobbies are fun, and I'll keep working until it becomes something. But anyway, so I casted a game it's maybe 4 months after I started casting, and somebody posted some feedback, and they posted not a wall of text, a paragraph and a half, and then I was like, okay, cool. They put some really good feedback. I like criticism because without criticism, how do you improve? So I sat there, read through the criticism, and some of the things I was kind of like, look, dude, I can't control that. It's totally a mic or something. I was like, oh man, that's totally this, it's totally that. So long story short, I ended up typing a wall of text back to him. It was very, very mannered, I hope, and I got a little bit annoyed in the middle of it. And I can go back and read it and figure out the part where I got a little agitated about what they said. But after I typed that wall of text, they sent back 2 sentences saying, dude, why so formal? And then said, "You're doing good. Just keep it up." And I felt bad because, as I sat there and typed out this thing, I was legitimately a little upset about some of the things I said, and I took it personally. As Zeazin said, don't take it personally. So, long story short, a lot of things they pointed out was I talk too fast, I say a lot, and those are things I already knew, and I was kind of getting annoyed because I kept hearing it over and over. So, I mean, if people keep telling the same thing, you might need to change it, guys. Just saying.
Yeah, it's a lot of the vocal things, little vocal mannerisms, they are definitely the most difficult to change. I think when I was just trying to stop myself doing that tongue clicking thing that I mentioned earlier, I was going through casting, I was like, I just did it there, and then I would be so concentrated on not doing it that I'd miss things in the game. Right. So
It's like, oh man,
It takes a while to get used to them.
it's like I just did it there. Roshan dies and the Ancient explodes. Like, oh man, I just did it again. Wait, what happens? The game's over? No. No way. No, it can't be.
But yeah, it's almost always constructive. You can spot the trolls, and if you spot a troll, just don't bother rising to it. Just go, cool story, bro, and then ignore it.
Oh man, yes, counter troll the troll, guys. That'll get you far. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it's like a little, a troll warlord type thing. You have to punch them in the face to let them know that you respect them, and they respect you. Yeah, you know that's how it works. That's how troll warlord makes friends.
Exactly. You'll be brought into the trolling family if you disrespect them.
Yeah. You know, or it can be that region that we don't talk about. You know, that's how you say I love you in that region.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a hero that has the same name as well, Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker.
Really? Oh.
Sorry, it's a Russian joke.
Oh. Hey! We didn't mention any regions here. I don't know what you're talking about. I was totally.
I didn't either. I was just saying that Bloodseeker has the name of a swear in Russia.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you learn new things every day. Anyway, moving on because we're getting really sidetracked here.
Yeah.
My apologies. I'm not doing a good job of keeping to the questions. So, aside from casting and playing Dota, what do you do for fun? Because you sound like a very fun guy. You sound like you get out a lot and you get to hang out. You have a partner of all things.
Yes, I know. I'm very, well. Weekends generally I spend with my son. I have a kid as well.
Oh
so
wow! Okay.
I've got a 2-year-old son, who is Scottish Chinese, which is an interesting mix.
It's a contradiction. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had to
My mother actually said that I should give him a really Scottish name like Hamish, because then if he went like to the doctors or somewhere, they would call his name. They'd be like Hamish, and he'd stand up and it's like a Chinese guy. I'd be like, yo.
It's like,
And I thought that'd be funny, but it's also not funny to give your kid a funny name.
yeah, because that's the easy way to get picked on. Like a boy named Sue. Man.
Yeah. Apart from that, I play guitar. I do some graphic design work for a couple of record labels. A couple of startup record labels. I design their logos and thumbnails and things like that. I watch a lot of YouTube. And yeah, just play lots and lots of video games. Hang out with my friends usually. Just get drunk quite a lot as well, of course.
Okay, there you go. That's the thing. That's the thing everyone says. Yeah. He's Scottish. Exactly. He gets drunk. Yeah.
Not living up to stereotypes here at all, but I do have a bottle of whiskey on my desk right now.
I was just going to ask you that. I was like, how are you living up to your stereotype? But see, you just killed the illusion, man. You killed the illusion. So
it is of course American whiskey, so.
Meh. I mean, I don't drink, so I wouldn't know the difference. I mean, people who listen are like, yeah, American whiskey, yeah, America. But I'm all like, yeah, don't touch this stuff. It's like Brewmaster says.
Yeah, well, it's probably the best choice. I usually say every. I'm probably going to be saying tomorrow at some point. I was a really bad idea.
I really regret my decision. As you wake up.
I'll be lying on the couch and able to move, trying to press the Y key for the emote wheel. I'm like, I don't have a keyboard.
That's a Dota reference, guys. If you don't play Dota, don't worry. It was a funny joke. Just know that much. But okay.
Trust me, guys. It was funny.
But like guitar. I want to ask you about guitar. So for all the music files out there, what would be the most complicated song you can play on guitar confidently?
I don't play specific songs. I'm an improv jazz funk guitarist. I know that is probably the whitest thing anyone can do, but I don't really know many songs, to be honest. I just kind of jam along to things. Apparently, I've been told I'm quite good, but I have no idea.
So you just play for the sake of playing, just because it makes you relaxed?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I don't know songs, but if someone puts a song on, I can usually work out within a bar or two.
Okay.
So, I can usually fake it.
There you go, fake it till you make it, man. That's how I started casting. But you guys don't know that. Cool Blue's totally legit.
Yeah, he's born with a headset on and a mic.
Yeah, born with a headset, a mic, and a very crappy internet connection. That's how it works. Yeah. Right,
don't worry, I suffer from that too.
So, what other games do you play?
Other games I'm actually currently playing the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, which is probably one of the coolest names ever created. It's kind of like Diablo mixed with the old Dungeon Keeper games. It's pretty fun. Apart from that, let me have a look. I'm playing a lot of Anno. And today I just bought the new South Park game, so that should be arriving in a few days. Of course, I'm in the UK, so it's not bloody out yet.
Stick of truth.
Yes, I have to wait for the 7th, and I've got loads of people on my friends list currently playing it. Not fair.
Well, you know, just to make you feel better, I'm gonna go out and buy the game just to play it.
Yeah.
I won't do that. I'm too broke.
The worst thing is, if I would steep to the levels of piracy, I could get it right now, but I'm not going to because it's evil.
Alright, guys, support your industry unless they try to charge you $60 for DLC. Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly. In which case, remorselessly pirate it.
Yeah, so I pirate everything. Pirate all of the games. No, okay, and just officially, we're not saying you guys should go pirate things. That's wrong.
No.
You should do things the legal way, and we don't want to get in trouble, so don't say we told you to. Please.
Exactly, that's where I'm going to get my income from. You buying stuff, not pirating it.
I mean, technically, people don't have to buy tickets if they know what they're doing, but let's not talk about that, because that's not supposed to be discussed.
Yeah.
Alright, so keep that on the hush. If you guys want to know secrets, email Zeazin at... No, let me stop. So, any interesting talents that you have that you would be willing to tell the internet?
Well, I play the guitar. I'm mildly passable-ish at drawing and art in general. Quite surprising, actually, considering I am doing an art degree, but I'm only passable at drawing.
I mean, that works. Just as long as you get the idea across.
Yeah. Let me see. What else am I good at? Awkward pauses. There you go. Awkward pauses. I'm good at that.
Oh, I was just going to ask, like, do you have a list of these things written down?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm quite good at consuming large amounts of chocolate.
That sounds healthy.
Yeah.
Chocolate's actually good for you in reasonable amounts.
Exactly. It's actually pretty good for your heart.
Unless you clog your arteries. Like,
Of course,
can you
yeah.
clog your arteries with chocolate?
Yeah, you know, if your blood is actually chocolate, then you know you've eaten too much.
You know you've eaten too much chocolate when. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Your blood looks like Nestle Quick.
But it tastes so good.
It does.
Yeah. Okay, so you have chocolate, you have guitar, and you can moderately draw.
Yeah, and also, you know, 3D design and animation, video editing, that sort of jazz, which is pretty handy, I guess, in this industry.
Oh, I see what you did there, jazz guitar.
Ah, yeah.
And he's clever, guys. He makes really good puns.
Yeah. I'm pretty punny.
Oh.
Yeah!
Too soon, man. Too soon. Alright, so moving over to our last few questions, because we're going to go ahead and bring this thing to a close. I feel like everybody has a really great feel for who you are. So,
Yep.
do you have any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Shout out probably to CasNet, of course, for having me here for this interview. It's been pretty good fun. It's been a nice experience just sitting talking rather than having to talk over Dota or anything like that. Shout out to Money and Holes 24/7. He is one of the first people I cast. Yes, he has a ridiculous name, but he's a really nice guy, really good caster. Let me see. Shout out to James Harding, you know, too good for being the most offensive caster in the world. It's great.
Nice.
And that's about it. And that's about it.
Okay. Wait, no family? No shout out to everybody in my house right now? Shout out to the people for keeping my water going?
Well, they know. I tell them regularly, you know.
Okay, there you go. See, there you go, guys. See, Zeazin, unlike me, or not Zeazin, Jesus, Zeazin, unlike me, tells his family that he loves them every day.
Yeah, well, maybe not I love them. Just I tell them.
You know what?
Just tell them things. You know. All right, how you doing?
It's like, get my beer.
You're all right. You're not bad.
You're not bad. Really, you're not bad. So
I'm kidding,
your son wakes up in the morning. You say, "Oh, you're not bad. You're okay. You're fine. I can cope."
Yeah. Not the worst I could have done, I guess. That is a joke, guys, of course.
This is degraded very fast. All right, so let's go ahead and end this before we end up in the casual talk section, which I think we've already ventured into a few times, which I think is great. It's fine. It lets us know a little bit more about you, and also a little bit more about me and CasNet and the professionalism that we have in the scene here. So, where can people find you? Because we have a few of your social media sites. We have your YouTube, your Twitter, your Twitch. If somebody wants to find you, what would be the best place to locate you? And do you have any other thing you want to plug out there too?
Yeah, well, of course, you can. Another place you can get me if you want me. I do quite a lot of pubcasting as well. It's how I got started. I'm going to keep doing it as well. It seems it's good practice and it's good to interact with the community as well. So if you've actually got any games you can you'd like to cast, if you post them on the Dota 2 CasNet subreddit there, and or message me on there. You can. I'll be more than happy to do casts or answer any questions or anything like that. And apart from that, all the other social network things are there. I'm not very good at Twitter. I don't really understand. I'm kind of like a middle-aged man with Twitter, so I'm not really sure what I'm doing. So yeah, you could probably follow me on there, and I'll probably figure out how it works soon enough.
Like, where's the enter button? Where's the keyboard?
It seriously took me an hour to try and find out where the make message button is, or compose tweet button.
No, see, you're fine, because it took me a while to figure that out too. I was like, look, I'm just trying to compose a tweet about what. Oh, it's right there.
Yeah, also took me a while to figure out you can't just like visibly like something. You have to like favorite it, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, different names for the same thing, but yeah, social media, it grows on you. Either you grow with it, or it just leaves you behind.
Yeah, but yes, apart from that, mainly YouTube is my main haunt. I answer every single comment as well, so if you do me a comment there, then I will get back to you about that. But yeah, YouTube's mainly where I'm making my appearance just now, because my upload speeds are terrible, so my stream quality is also terrible.
That's KB.
Yeah,
wait, no.
It should be changing soon though. I think I'm gonna be getting my connection upgraded, so I'll be able to cast everything. I should be able to stream everything on Twitch.
Ooh,
it'll be fun.
Sweet, fancy.
Yay.
And then you'll have the Kappa community will follow you.
Exactly. Yeah, Kappa and Greyface all the way.
Greyface, no space. Anyway, all right. So, Zeazin, thank you. Would you like to give your final goodbye to the people before I do the outro and everything?
Yep. Thanks very much for watching. I hope we've mildly entertained you with this, and yeah, just follow me, message me, whatever, if you'd like to get in contact with me. I'm always looking for more co-casters as well, and I will give tutorials if anyone wants them as well. So thank you.
So Zeazin, look, always be helpful. So thank you, Zeazin, for joining us. That is going to wrap it up for this interview. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. This is yet another interview brought to you by CasNet. And Zeazin, once again, thank you for sparing your time, because I know it's like 1 o'clock in the morning now.
Yeah.
I apologize, but I didn't feel like doing anything today.
It's okay. I'm nocturnal anyway, so.
Oh, really? Oh, high five.
Yeah. Air five.
Nocturnal Scottish. That's a good combination, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no. Okay. Let's not get into stereotypes. Anyway, like I said, my name is Cool Blue. Joined here by Zeazin. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys whenever.